A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. Today, Chancellor Rachel Reeves is set to address the nation with her spring statement, a smaller-scale version of the budget, which will outline the government's economic plans for the upcoming months. This comes 5 months after her initial budget, which introduced a staggering £40 billion in tax increases. The spring statement, scheduled for approximately 12:30 p.m., is expected to present a grim picture as the Office for Budget Responsibility, OBR, has downgraded Britain's growth forecasts significantly, predicting a drop in the growth rate for the 2025 financial year from 2% to just 1%. Despite the spring statement not being a full budget, it will still provide crucial insights into the government's economic strategy based on the latest OBR forecasts. As inflation continues to be a pressing issue, with the headline rate easing slightly from 3% in January to 2.8% in February, it remains stubbornly above the government's target of 2%. Economists warn that inflation could rise again, with projections indicating it may reach as high as 3.75% in the latter half of 2025. Meanwhile, wage growth remains robust, with regular pay increasing by 5.9% over the 3 months leading up to January, indicating that the labor market is still tight despite signs of cooling. The Chancellor faces a daunting task in managing inflation while also addressing the fiscal challenges presented by the OBR's forecast. With the government's fiscal headroom effectively wiped out, Reeves is expected to announce a series of public spending cuts totaling around £5 billion. These cuts are seen as necessary to restore financial stability as economic growth stagnates and inflationary pressures persist. Critics have raised concerns about the potential impact of these cuts, particularly on disability benefits, which are projected to soar from £65 billion to £100 billion by the end of the decade. The government is reportedly prioritizing efficiency savings over tax increases, with plans to tighten eligibility for personal independence payments, PIP, and restructure work-related benefits. The proposed changes have sparked backlash from various sectors, including Labour MPs and charities, who argue that the measures disproportionately target vulnerable populations. In a bid to cut costs, Reeves has instructed all government departments to reduce administrative expenses by 15% over the next 5 years, which could lead to the loss of approximately 10,000 civil service jobs. Unions representing civil servants have warned that such drastic measures could lead to chaos within the public sector. Reeves has defended the cuts, stating that they are necessary to streamline operations and invest in key priorities. Another area of speculation is the potential extension of the freeze on tax thresholds, which are set to expire in April 2028. This freeze, initially implemented during the pandemic, allows the government to collect a larger share of rising wages without explicitly raising taxes. Analysts suggest that extending this freeze until 2030 could significantly increase tax revenue, particularly affecting middle-income earners who may find themselves pushed into higher tax brackets due to wage growth. Reeves is also likely to announce increased penalties for late tax payments as part of a strategy to raise an additional £1 billion a year by the end of the decade. This move comes in response to the significant number of taxpayers who failed to meet the self-assessment tax return deadline last year. Furthermore, there are discussions around lowering the threshold for the 45% income tax rate, which could pull more high earners into a higher tax bracket without altering the actual tax rate. As the Chancellor prepares to deliver her spring statement, the economic landscape remains fraught with challenges. With inflation on the rise, public spending cuts looming, and potential tax changes on the horizon, the government's strategy will be closely scrutinized by both the public and political analysts alike. Today's address is not just a routine update, but a critical moment that could shape the UK's economic future in the coming months. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.